The poor student married a wealthy 70-year-old woman. But just 7 days later, he was stunned when she asked him for something. Dmitry Ivanov was only 23 years old, but he felt as if life had already burdened him with decades of hardship. While other students spent their evenings in bars or planned their bright futures, he was fighting for survival every single day. His law studies were his only hope, yet reality was ruthless. His mother was gravely ill, hospital bills were piling up, and his 14-year-old sister Clara lived in constant fear that one day she would be left alone. He worked in a small law firm for a pittance, barely making ends meet. The stack of overdue notices on the kitchen table grew daily, a silent judgment on his failures. On one of those days when despair clung to him like a leaden weight, an older colleague pulled him aside. "Dmitry, you need to take a break," the man said with a knowing smile, patting his shoulder. "Come with me to a social gathering. You'll meet people. Who knows, maybe something good will come of it." Dmitry wanted to refuse. What business did he have at such an event? But when he thought of his family, he knew he had to seize every opportunity. Maybe this was his only chance to escape the crushing cycle he was trapped in. The moment Dmitry stepped into the grand villa, he felt out of place. Golden light reflected off marble floors, silk and satin rustled as elegantly dressed guests laughed, their smiles as flawless as the diamonds adorning them. He smoothed down his old, worn-out suit, an inheritance from his late father. His plan was to remain invisible, to fade into the background. But then, a woman in an emerald green dress approached him. Elena Mikhailovna. Her name was spoken with reverence throughout the city. A woman of immense wealth, yet surrounded by mystery. She was over 70, but her posture was regal, her gaze as sharp as that of a chess master, anticipating her opponent's every move. "Young man," she said, her voice smooth but laced with command, "you don't belong here, do you?" Dmitry swallowed. "No, madam," he admitted. "I'm only here by chance." Elena smiled, a smile that was both warm and appraising. "Then tell me, who are you?" And with that, a conversation began that would change Dmitry's life forever. 3 days had passed since the evening of the social gathering, yet Dmitry couldn't erase the memory of his encounter with Elena Mikhailovna. Her sharp questions, her scrutinizing gaze, her unexpected attention, all of it had etched itself deeply into his mind. He had never expected to hear from her again, but then his phone suddenly rang. "Dmitry, this is Elena Mikhailovna. I hope you remember me." Her voice was calm, but her words froze him in place. "I would like you to come to my home tomorrow. I have an important matter to discuss." Dmitry had no idea what she could possibly want from him. Any rational person might have refused, but his reality left him no choice. This could be an opportunity or a trap, but if there was even a chance to help his mother and Clara, he couldn't afford to be cautious. The next day, as he stood before the towering gates of her villa, his heartbeat quickened. A butler led him through endless hallways until they reached an opulent sitting room. Elena was already waiting, seated upright in a heavy leather armchair, a glass of whiskey in her hand. She motioned for him to sit, studying him with the cool composure of a woman who knew she held all the power. "Dmitry," she finally began, "I won't waste time with pleasantries." She set her glass down, her piercing eyes locking onto his. "I want you to marry me." Dmitry blinked. He must have misheard her. "I'm sorry. What?" But Elena repeated herself with the same unwavering calm. "A marriage. Not a love story, not a fairy tale, just an arrangement." Dmitry felt his mind racing to process her words. A 71-year-old millionaire wanted to marry him? Why? And why him, of all people? "You need help, and I have my reasons," she said coolly. "There's no place for emotions here, just a signature on paper and a role you must play." Dmitry wanted to protest, but her next words stopped him cold. "I will pay off your debts. Your mother will receive the best medical care, and your sister will have every educational opportunity she needs." The room fell silent. Every fiber of his being screamed that this was wrong. But then he pictured his ailing mother, saw Clara's hopeful smile that had never faded despite their hardships. Could he really walk away from this chance? "Think it over," Elena said smoothly. "Give me your answer tomorrow." Then she dismissed him, leaving him alone with a choice that would change his life forever. The wedding took place in a simple ceremony, devoid of grandeur or emotion. There were no vows of love, no joyful guests, just a signature binding Dmitri to a woman he barely knew. Elena remained composed, almost indifferent, as if this were nothing more than a business transaction. Yet in her eyes, there was a depth he could not decipher. Dmitri knew that this marriage had nothing to do with love, but as he later stepped into his new, luxurious home, an unexpected weight settled on his chest. He had received everything he needed, but at what cost? Despite his newfound financial security, Elena remained a mystery. She spent hours in her study, reading old letters, writing notes whose contents he never saw. She spoke to him with politeness, yet always kept a distance, never allowing him to get too close. Dmitri began to wonder what she truly expected from him. At times he had the unsettling feeling that she was watching him, as if trying to confirm that she had made the right choice. But whenever he tried to understand her, she withdrew, as though she were guarding a truth she was not ready to reveal. One night, Dmitri found a sealed envelope on his bedside table, a letter from Elena. With trembling fingers, he opened it and began to read. What he discovered made his blood run cold. Elena was gravely ill. She did not have much time left and knew that her fortune could fall into the wrong hands after her death. Dmitri was her last hope, a man she trusted, despite barely knowing him. "I did not choose you by chance," she had written in her elegant handwriting. "I see something in you that I have not found in others: honesty, strength, and the will to fight for what is right." Dmitri set the letter down, his hands shaking. He had agreed to this marriage for his family's sake, but now he realized it was about something far greater. Dmitri sat with the letter in his hands, feeling the weight of Elena's words push his life in a direction he had never imagined. She hadn't just married him to offer help, she had entrusted him with her life's work. A vast fortune, yes, but more importantly, a charitable foundation that had transformed countless lives. It was her greatest legacy, but she knew she wouldn't live long enough to protect it herself. "Use it wisely," she had written. In that moment, Dmitri no longer felt like a struggling student fighting for survival. He felt like a man entrusted with something far greater than himself. In the months that followed, he witnessed Elena's quiet strength. She never spoke of fear or regret. Instead, she meticulously prepared everything to ensure he had the tools he needed. She introduced him to the people whose lives she had changed, making him realize that her wealth was not her true legacy, her mission was. And when one morning she simply didn't wake up, she left behind no mere fortune, but a responsibility that stretched far beyond his own existence. Years later, Dmitri stood before a hall filled with young people who had received an education thanks to Elena's foundation. His family was secure, but he knew his mission was greater than that. He had expanded her work, created new programs, and built upon what she had started. "I didn't know if I was ready for this responsibility," he admitted as he gazed at the crowd. "But someone believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself." Applause filled the room, and Dmitri knew in his heart, Elena's legacy lived on, in every saved future, in every life that had been given a chance. Sometimes, life takes unexpected turns that change everything. Once, Dmitri had been a man without hope, drowning in debt and despair. But one encounter had rewritten his fate. What began as a marriage of convenience became a journey of sacrifice, responsibility, and ultimately a legacy that transcended his own existence. Did this story move you? Leave a like and share the video with your friends. What do you think? Was it fate or simply a chain of coincidences? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another fascinating story. Thanks for watching. Until next time.